Good evening and welcome to the show that never ends. Denver Skinner first in the house. Karen Evans, have you got nothing to do? You should be bathing them children. Graham Alton, hello all. Christopher, good evening to you. So, did you just watch that 1500 meter race? Did you just watch that 1500 meter gold medal race? It was absolutely fantastic. Good evening, Tracy Dodds. Good evening, Jeffrey Harroway, Martin Lawrence, good evening, and Tim Weston, good evening. So, welcome to the show that never ends, as they say. Good evening to Steve Pace. They're all coming in now. I just love that 1500 meters. I was screaming. I was at my seat screaming for him to win. What a lovely run. That's twice now. We've got gold medal at 1500 meters. Honestly, there's just not enough hours in the day, is there? I bet some people are not even on here. They're watching it. Anyway, what about that bloke who pissed off Putin? He died in a plane accident. That was a bit uncanny, wasn't it? He died in a plane accident. What about the poor pilot and the crew? Hey, they weren't thinking of him, were they? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So, one of the things I'd like to talk about is horrible situation. Very, very horrible situations. Safer than falling out of a window. Oh, I wouldn't like to be the pilot on that plane when he got on. Anyway, I did it with a vet attack. And I'll read it out because everybody's in the group. Some of you are. There was an incident at work today, Thursday. This is written by Crystal Nectar, Nelka McCurl. Listen to this. Listen to this. You know, by dog psychologists and you've got animal behaviorists, and these vets like to sort of promote this sort of method of training. And anybody who uses discipline is barbaric and shouldn't be allowed to have a dog. Hello, Brett. How are you doing? They shouldn't be allowed to have a dog. Well, listen to this. And this ain't nice. There was an incident today at work Thursday afternoon, and I feel it's important to address it as rumor mill has begun. Stories are getting skewed. Also, the veterinary world is small, and this could happen to any of us at any time. So remember this: the veterinary is small. It's not, is it? It's not small, is it? We had a dog in that was hospitalized for surgery and was staying the night for surgery the next morning. The vet, Dr. Emily Granto Martin, wanted to give him some mild sedation to keep sedatives. She said sedatives in the back. She's not listening. She's not reading it. I'm reading it. I'm dyslexic, and she's trying to mess me up. Everyone, please bear with me. Sedation. You know what I mean? I'll spell it. Sedation. She clever get in the corner. She's not said nothing, has she? It must be these Americans. Sedation, yeah, to keep himself settled and not so anxious overnight. I knew what it was. I just couldn't say it. Together, we walked him outside on a very long lead. Very nice. That was nice. And as we had already been warned, he was aggressive. Well, there you go. Now, mind you, in our profession, it's not uncommon for us to have aggressive dogs or cats come in, and we take precautions. So it happens. It's nothing new, is it? So I wonder what they normally do under normal circumstances. Anyway, now, in our profession, it's uncommon for aggressive dogs or cats to come in, and we take precautions. We make sure the staff and the pets are safe as possible. Hence, the reason we walked him outside so he wouldn't feel so confined and fearful. Okay. Patient was walking around doing good, using the bathroom on everything, and seemed relatively relaxed. I would say he's dominant. Dr. Martin placed the muzzle on the dog, no problem at all, and they came from behind to poke him with sedation. Once I poked him, he jumped and the muzzle came off. She yelled that the muzzle was off, and I backed away, as did she. Normally, this is where the dog backs away and we reconvene in a few minutes and try again. This time, the dog came from behind and attacked the doctor and pulled her to the ground. He dragged her a few feet and began to maul her. Just give us a second. The doctor. Hello. Hello, Pat. Pat, I'm on a live feed at this very moment. No problem. No problem. You didn't know, but I didn't want to like they can't hear you, but they can hear you and me talking. They can hear me talking to you, but they don't know what you're going to say to me. So, if you could ring me perhaps tomorrow, or yeah. Brilliant, Pat. Thanks a lot. I got to go. Bye. Bye. There you go. Okay, so that was a live feed. So I'm sorry about that, everybody. I get phone calls all the time, Terry. It doesn't answer the frigging phone. This time, the dog came from behind and attacked the doctor and pulled her to the ground. He dragged her for a few feet and began to maul her. He attacked her all over her body, but mostly her right arm, and she was trying to protect her face. Another technician ran out and began, this is it, to punch and kick the dog while I ran and grabbed the lead and pulled him off her. Punch and kicked the dog. These are the people who tell us how we should train dogs, how we should control dogs. Now, in a situation like that, and I totally understand panic and fear steps in, but if you were on top of me and you started punching and kicking me and I got free, there's going to be payback. As simple as that. There's going to be payback. It's in my genetics. Even an old bastard like me, right? It's in my genetics. Why didn't they use food? Why didn't they use the gentle approach, the psychology behind it all? Why did they revert to caveman behavior of punching and kicking the dog? Now you could say, hang on, Chris, you've been a bit harsh here. The situation, she was being mauled. Well, in that situation, surely the worst thing you could do is take the dog to the next level up. Now, I don't want to be too critical because I wasn't there, but I do know one thing. If you've never, they didn't try using food her arm, says David Jones. But what I'm saying, David, and I think it's important, it's so easy to be judgmental, isn't it? And say, oh, anybody who trains with discipline, anybody who uses correction, anybody who uses force, is barbaric and a caveman. Well, hang on, you're going back to caveman times, aren't you? Aren't you? Hey? If it was aggressive, then why did they have it on a long line? Surely a short lead would have been better and more control. The whole point of it is what do you do in sheer panic? I have no hesitation giving a dog punishment at the right moment to get the dog to back down. But in some situations, if you don't know how to use punishment, that's what Karen says, fight, flight, avoid, or surrender. You've got to know what you're dealing with and how to deal with it. Now, if it was a life-altering moment, then you might do something that you think, I didn't think about it, I just automatically reacted. But these are the people who just said in that whole article, and I haven't read all of it, is we have these sort of dogs on a regular basis. So do you kick, punch cats and dogs? But you don't like to tell people that's the way you get them to behave themselves in that situation? Back off. Because, not being funny, if you're mouthy to me in a pub, that doesn't mean that we're going to, well, years ago, that doesn't mean we're going to have a fight. But if you come at me waving your fists, you've got to take the consequences. And if you're waving your fist and sticking the boot in and the dog is clamping down on the vet, are you doing the vet any favors by making the dog more pissed off? Right? Now, I could have carried on reading about the way they got out of the room, the two people there, and she was left there. And unfortunately, the dog went back on her, and she's in a bad way. And it's a sad situation. But it's a situation that I think we should discuss, because it's no different than what I put up earlier, and I put up on purpose, about taking a dog in for training. At what point do you see the true dog? Do you see the true dog in the first 2 days? Do you see the true dog in the first 3 weeks? How long does it take the dog to settle in? All dogs are different. You can't give off advice like this. Let me advice, because this is what is happening in today's society, isn't it? Everybody's so quick to give advice, aren't they? Everybody is so quick. Adopted dogs take 3 days to decompress. What, all dogs? 3 weeks to start to know your routine. Do they? All of them? And 3 months to start to feel at home. Give them a chance. So you send your dog away to me, that you've pampered, you've spoiled, you've allowed the dog to take over, and I've got to turn the mindset round with that dog. And I tell people, no way do I go straight in with discipline. No way do I go in and suppress the behavior, because I'm not seeing the true dog, am I? And this is the thing with understanding punishment and when to give punishment and how to take punishment, right?
The RSPCA don't give them something.
So I wonder, like Susan in the background, trying to fuck with my brain again, coming in, trying to debate. She wants to debate. I told her to get a chair and sit next to me. We'll have a live 1-to-1, me and Susan. You should see it, honestly. If we kicked off, honestly, she's terrible. But now I've lost all train of thought now, because of my darling wife in the background. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So that's it now. The show's over. Good night. Sue, they want to talk to you now. So what I'm saying is, hang on. Hang on. She's like Alexa, isn't she? Oh, freaking shut up, Alexa. Will you switch that thing off? Just press the top of it.
Something.
Yes, you did miss something. You did miss something. I'm having a row with my wife now. Go away, Alexa.
What thing on top? I don't know that one.
There you go. Well done, Sue. She says she doesn't know how to switch Alexa off. I don't know how to switch Sue off. That's the real freaking problem, honestly. All these years, and I've never ever been able to control her. Honestly, she just comes out with stuff.
And you were saying?
I don't know. I forget what I was saying. That's the old freaking point. Each dog is individually different. Exactly, Karen. Exactly. And that's the whole point. You've got these people making these wonderful accusations or giving out advice on the internet. They haven't got a clue, because they haven't got the dogs behind them. They haven't got the years of working different dogs and working out how different temperaments work. And one of the things I put up today, because of a video that I've watched, and it's an absolutely fantastic video of one of our trainers doing a lesson, and we can't put it up unless the owner wants to let it be put up. But it's an absolute wonderful video for everybody to learn from, including the owner. Big time. But it's even better than that, because I didn't take the lesson. One of our members took the lesson, and it was a good lesson. But not only does the guy having the lesson learn, the person giving the lesson learns from someone with a lot of knowledge. I wouldn't be recommending that person if they didn't have knowledge, they didn't have understanding. But it's more in depth than people can actually understand. And if you analyze these things and you look into them deeper, and somebody has the time to explain them to you, you see a different picture. And that's what I was talking about earlier, about eye contact. Getting eye contact. You can get eye contact, but you can have false eye contact. It's like, if every jewelry shop that I went to, I purchased something for Sue, she'd give me eye contact. But she's not that way inclined. But I could soon condition her if I bought something from her every time we went to a jewelry shop, couldn't I? Because some people become opportunists.
Shall we try it?
Shall we try it? She says. See? That's the problem, isn't it? So,
You could use it as an experiment.
yeah, I could use it as a hands-on experiment, but I know exactly what it would create. So I don't need to. Peter Piper. Sorry, everybody, if you keep seeing me doing that, it's not a nervous twitch. I've got these little freaking fly things flying around us because there's a light on, and she's got the window open in the corner, and they've come in and they just buzz around me. It looks like, that's why in India, instead of having, on weddings, they have icing cake, don't they? That white stuff is called icing, isn't it? Icing on the cakes. In India, they actually don't. They put human feces all over the cake instead of icing because it keeps the flies off the happy couple. Sorry, it was just one of them freaking jokes that just come into my head. Sorry, perhaps I should not. Perhaps I should move on. Another one of them freaking, honestly. Anyway, I've got a love heart. I've got a love heart. Thank you, Peter. I've got a love heart here. Oh, there's a new thing on here. You've got a love heart. You can put a love heart that you love it. Oh, you're using it, some of you, aren't you? Good evening, Sue. Sue's using a love heart. There's 100% a funny face. So if I say something rude, you could give me this one, look. You see it? I don't know what happened then. I don't know. I pressed it and freaking don't know what happened. I think it went up the screen. Anyway, I've lost all my train of thought now. I don't know where I am. I don't know what to talk about. Has anybody asked any questions? Anybody got any questions to ask? What the freaking hell's going on? There's a thing going up and down the screen now. I'll press that one and see what happens. It says 100%. Look at that, look. And that one. Party time. Yeah, have a laugh. I don't know what's happening. So anyway, anybody got any questions? No, obviously I just sit here like a freaking idiot, don't I? You all piss yourself laughing at me, and you got nothing to say now. No, because of her in the freaking background. She's put me right off. I was on a roll. You know what it's like when she's not here? We manage no problem at all, don't we? It took 15 minutes before I freaking got a drink when she came home tonight. Hey, but I had tea ready. I was there in me pinny, ready. Food on the table. I've just this second got a drink. That's why I'm a little bit stressed. You're going to have to bear with me until the drink settles me a little bit. I'm a little bit flustered. And now she's messed up my train of thought. Yeah, so anyway, what we're talking about, eye contact, weren't we? For freaking hell, sound like that bloke from the Ronnie Barker. For sake. Shut up. Ronnie Barker. I need a drink. I should have made a double. Yeah, so anyway, where were we? Oh, yeah, I was on about eye contact for the wrong reason. And in the video, it's absolute open all hours. That's it, Brett. In the video. See, you're trying to put me off as well now, Brett, aren't you? In the fucking video. Right. Shut up. They're in the background laughing. Brett opening all hours. Freaking Arkwright.
Peter's laughing as well. Kieran says, well, he says eye contact for real and not for treats.
Yeah, exactly. Now, in the video that I've seen today, it's an excellent video because it shows the motivation for food when it suits the dog. But in the environment where the dog says the food has not got the same value, the dog doesn't listen. The dog does its own thing. I want eye contact for the right reason. I want eye contact because I've built a relationship with the dog and the dog sees me as the leader, and the gameplay outvalues everything. The gameplay is so important. Now, I'm renowned for talking about discipline, when to use discipline, how to use discipline. But gameplay is such a fundamental basic, and all animals use it. All animals use it, gameplay. and they all tap into gameplay. Do all animals bribe each other non-stop to get what they want? Now, dogs are opportunists, and it's dead simple, isn't it? We can see it, can't we? Like our table, and you're having your dinner, and every now and again you drop something on the floor for the dog's going to pick it up, and the dog's going to sit under the table and pay attention to you. Have you taught that behavior? Yes. But how have you taught it? Because it's to the dog's advantage. So it's a positive for the dog to sit under the table or by the table waiting for anybody to drop food. So if you've got young kids and they're dropping food, not actually feeding the dog's sweeping up, isn't it? The dog is going, hey, this is a great place to be. So the dog learns through association of pleasure. So gameplay is pleasure. But the dog knows where the food's going to be. It doesn't sort the dog's behavior out. It just gives the dog what it wants when it wants it, because it's an opportunist. And I'm not against using food sparingly. What I'm against is these vendors. They just do nothing but feed the dog, feed the dog, feed the dog, feed the dog. And it creates bigger problems. And it creates bigger problems. It's the same as training the dog in the house. Okay, if you're using your alleyway, your hallway or an alleyway for a bit of straight out, straight back retrieving with a puppy, that's one thing. But you don't do your training with your dog in the house. You want the dog to switch off in the house. If you overstimulate the dog's thought pattern in the house, the dog's going to be looking at you, especially if you're giving treats, especially if you're using food as a motivator. The dog is going to be looking at you because it suits the dog, not because the dog wants to play the game, because the game won't be as important until it suits the dog, because each game has higher value or less value. So you can teach a dog through gameplay just as good as you can teach discipline. It's knowing when to and when not to. That's the important thing about why we talk about all the subjects of the pitfalls and the positives that you can get out of by using the tools, using the different ideologies, the different methods. But some people, because they can get the dog to follow them with the food, they think they've cracked it and got a dog that's brilliantly well behaved. And it's the same as these dogs in the flyball. If you watch them, they're so focused, they're so driven, they don't give a shit what's happening around them when they're in the moment of the gameplay. Take a moment and see what they're like. Manic freaking lunatics, unless you train them right, because they can't switch off. You can turn the dog on, but as a gun dog, we want the dog to be able to turn it on, not destroy the drive, the desire, the natural ability, but we also want to be able to get the dog to switch off. So there's nothing wrong with having your dog in the house as long as it can switch off. How many of you have your dog in the house and it can switch off? Tell me, how many in here? We've got 24 people in here. Let's see how many people have the dog in the house and it can switch off. It's gone very quiet. Very quiet. Yep, terrorist can switch the dog off. Yep, Graham can switch the dog off. Yep. Yep, Peter Piper can switch the dog off. So I hear people going, and I hear people. Your earlier post on Facebook was fantastic. It's all about what most valuable to the dog in different situations. A cube of cheese will get the attention in the house, but won't work for lots of different things. I think it was. I don't know. I can't see it. Extra stuff. We have flyball drive without the noise. Exactly. Birds in the woods. Yep. Yes. So we've got a number of people who have the dogs in the house, and there's nothing wrong with having the dog in the house. I've always said that. And then you get people going, yeah, but your dogs are well behaved because they're in a kennel and they're never in the house and they don't get up to other stuff. If you give the dog too much freedom in the house, whether it's your garden or whether it's in your house and you're letting the dog take over, then that's exactly what you're going to have. And I said something earlier about the amount of people that I've been around over the years, not everybody, and they've got a completely out of control dog. They've normally got completely out of control kids as well. No rules. They set no rules, set no boundaries. Now, I'm not saying it's a perfect match every time, because we're going to look at temperaments. We're going to look, does the dog suit the person? Does the breed suit the person? So many people just buy a dog because they want to get a dog. They don't think about the breed, do they? But I've never, ever said anybody who has a dog in the house has got a disadvantage. But you have to have balance. You have to have a place where the dog can switch off. Now, can you correct in the house? Of course you can. And the dog will avoid the behavior if you correct. But if you're giving the dog food all the time and the dog is sitting at your lap, looking at you for food, sitting at your feet, looking for you at food, every time you've got something in your hand, you are creating a bigger problem than solving by using food. Like I said, food is a primal motivator. But guess what? So is punishment. It's a primal motivator. People will try and avoid punishment. In today's society, people feel safe to say what they like to other people on the internet because they feel that they got protection behind the screen, where you wouldn't say it years ago in the 70s in a pub. Because in the 70s in a pub, you'd go outside and have a scrap, wouldn't you? You'd slap somebody or get slapped, like that fly. So now, I don't know about today in pubs because everything goes, isn't it? You can dress up as a... I'm not going to go there. No, forget that one. My dog will switch if anywhere. If I... Sorry, Sue. Can you...
My dog will switch off anywhere.
No, it doesn't. It says my dog will switch if.
Yeah, but it's off.
Oh, he means off.
Yeah.
He's just trying to confuse a dyslexic person.
Mm-hmm.
My dog will switch off anywhere if I say sit or stay. That means switch off until told otherwise. Exactly. But if I ask my dog to sit and he's on a shoot, he ain't going to switch off, but he'll sit. But he'll be watching the birds like crazy because he knows his job. If I said sit and the dog switched off, curled up, sat there and looked at me and didn't watch what was happening, he ain't doing the job I want him to do. The real skill set of a gun dog trainer is to get the dog to switch off when you want it to, but you've trained it to be focused and ready to go on the split second of a verbal cue. And that's the important thing. We put so much emphasis on not destroying drive and desire, but having control. That's really important. Where pet people, you can suppress the dog and it doesn't hurt the dog. So let's look at it this way. Let's just say for a scenario, you've got a dog coming to you for a lesson and you're a trainer. And the person gives you a list of 6-7 things the dog's not doing right. And you are there on your first lesson to assess this dog. And you put the dog through all 6 scenarios of what they say where the dog's not right to see how bad the dog is. Good evening, Gary Marriott. Sorry, he's late. He's bloody late. Honestly, disgraceful. 10 press ups. So you've set the situation up. Let's just say there's 6 things that the dog's doing wrong that owners told you, and they want it addressing. You can't always address those 6 issues. Sometimes you address 1 issue and get that right, and 3 of the issues of the 6 correct themselves. Other times, it would be overload for the dog for you to address each issue in 1 session. As simple as that. So you have to look at, where is my main problem here that I need to address? If I address that scenario, then I can move on to the other things once we've got that right. And I've found over the years that the dog's attention span is limited. It's not like a human, doesn't think like an educated human. It thinks on a basic level. So you've got to keep it basic. And when the scientists will tell you, oh, a dog of 5 years old has got the brain power of a 5-year-old, 3-year-old child, never get any further than that. Listen, ask the dog to go down the bank and cash it, and take £300 out of your cash machine. and see what he says to you, because you got no idea what you want him to do, has he? But you wouldn't believe how many people actually think the dog relates like a human. So let's just say that I'm a shoplifter and I'm only 4 years old and I'm bloody good because, well, they're serving me mum. I'm putting the sweets in my pocket off the bottom shelf. Come on, we've all done it. We've all done it, haven't we? And got away with it as a kid, haven't we? Hey, even when we were at school, remember that? Going down the shops and helping yourself? Oh, no, some people say never done that in my life. How many kids went down to school and the shopkeeper went looking, put some sweets in their pocket? Hey, how many? You can become quite good at it, can't you? If you get caught, there's a consequence, isn't there? Switchers, not switching, sorry. I'll have to have a look at that one, Denver. You've lost me. If you go down the shops and you don't get caught, you're going to get more and more into helping yourself, aren't you? You get caught, you get punished. Even the thought of going home and your parents finding out, you're going to be bricking it, aren't you? But in today's day and age, are you? If they don't punish, if they believe that you should be able to express yourself, what do they do now with shoplifting? What do they do now with shoplifting? They don't even take them to court, do they? As long as they want the stuff back and they let them go. And the police say it's not an offence. Well, that's why shoplifting is getting worse. And that's exactly why you've got to build a bond with the dog first to gain trust to be able to move forward with the training. Denver agrees with you there, Steve. I agree with you as well. Slap on the wrist and on your way. That's why it won't ever stop. It's not even a slap on your wrist, is it? It's not even a slap on your wrist. They can't do that now, can they? You know, look, under 200 quid, plod don't care. Well, in my day, the police cared if it was under 200 quid. If you got hauled in front of the school with somebody got caught shoplifting, kid got caught shoplifting in the school, you get hauled in front of the headmaster, you're going to get caned, aren't you? And then you're going to get told, your parents are going to get told as well, and then you're going to get another hammering, aren't you? But anyway, discipline doesn't work, does it? Discipline doesn't work. Because was it the fear of getting caught or letting your family down? Dogs don't think in the same way. That dog that attacked the nurse ain't sitting there thinking, oh, shit, I made a right mess of her. The vet nurse, I made a right mess of her. Don't care. They're opportunists. They don't think on the same level. And yet, how many videos do I watch where a trainer is taking the lesson and the owner is having a lesson with the dog that is out of control, not listening? And how many times do I see the owner stroke it? Sorry, I'm watching that fly again. I'm not having a fit. How often do I see the owner stroking and fondling the dog during the lesson? What does it tell you? What does it tell you? You've got a dog that's not listening to you, and you're reassuring it by stroking it and patting it. Sorry, something was retracted, and I was just about to read it, and it was retracted. Honestly, they're just freaking trying to freaking get me going tonight.
No, I think they just made like a spelling mistake.
Something to do with titty. I thought I saw something to do with titty.
Yeah.
All I saw was titty, and I zoomed in on that so quick it was unbelievable. Yeah, there are places near me where police won't even go. Exactly, Karen. We had places in Normanton in Derbyshire. Police didn't go. They didn't go unless they had 5 riot vans and freaking 17 police cars and 20 dogs. Unbelievable. The amount of call out for one person because the area was rough. No respect, see? No respect. But how do you get respect? Treat people with respect. That's the difference. If you go in heavy-handed, people ain't going to give you respect. Some people will come out fighting, won't they? And that's exactly the same scenario as that situation with that woman, poor woman. In the wrong hands, you shouldn't be working with dogs like that, should you? As simple as that. And this is the problem, isn't it? They're now wanting to pass on the job of a police dog to an independent outside company. Why? because there's no comeback for the police then if it all goes tits up, is it? The company should have insurance, and the police want to pass the buck. And that's exactly the same scenario as how many police officers, ex-police officers, start to become dog trainers when they come out of the police force. Why? Because they've got a lovely, great big fat pension, automatically guaranteed for the next 25, 30, 40 years they live. And it's fantastic, isn't it? If you're used to telling people what to do, it's easy to stand in front of somebody and give them waffle. Simple as that. Give respect to gain respect. End of. Exactly, Steve. 100%. You respected the Bobby who didn't take no prisoners and said it the way it was. If you messed around, he'd scruff you. You avoided him because you knew you didn't mess around with him. The same as your teachers at school. The teachers that controlled the class, but the class enjoyed the teacher, they educated, didn't they? But the teachers that were bored shitless, fed up with life because they're dealing with the lower end of the scale of kids in a rough area, switch off, ignore bad behavior. It only gets worse. The teachers who bully and dominate were never respected, were they? They may have had control to a certain extent, but the teachers you did look up to and enjoyed were the teachers that stimulated your mind. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say about when I watch so many videos out there on the internet. I could pull video after video after video after video and go, yeah, okay, I understand what you're trying to teach. I understand what you're trying to get across. But why aren't you telling the owner to stop groping the dog? Because you're sending mixed messages to the dog. Dogs don't react like that with each other. They don't. Are you reassuring the dog for the bad behavior, or are you reassuring the dog and making the dog unstable? It works both ways. It's how the dog reads it. Does the dog see you as a protector, or does the dog see you as weak and wants to protect you? That dog that bit the nurse, how do you know if you don't know the backstory? Was it an aggressive dog because it had been taught to bite on a bite sleeve, not let go? Was it an aggressive dog because it had become dominant? Those vets didn't know the backstory, but the dog was going in for the dog's care. The dog didn't respect that. The dog did have no capacity to understand that. They gave the dog the injection. The dog didn't like it. The dog retaliated. That's the whole point about breaking the psychology of how we train dogs down. And if we don't break it down, we're going to get the clowns go, oh, yeah, you use discipline. You all use discipline, you do. Oh, but I don't follow any of you because you use nothing but discipline. Hang on. What did they do at the vets? Can anyone explain to me what they thought they did at the vets after reading out what I said they did, what they said they did? That was their own words. What did they do? Did they use the kind approach? Did they what method of training did they revert to? It's called good old-fashioned punishment. But if you don't know how to use punishment and when to use punishment, trust me, things can go tits up. Because if a dog sees you as a weakness, even the owner can be attacked. If the dog sees you as the leader, but you're not challenging that dog all the time, then you're going to get respect. Because just because you're a leader, you don't need to be a bully. You don't need to put dogs in situations where they've got no way out. I'm getting cheesed off with these black things flying around. Black things. Sorry, can I say that? Can I say it? I don't know. I don't know if I can say it. You probably can't see them. I'm like Bruce Easy, aren't I? Anyway, that's 39 minutes gone. How many more minutes? What else do you want to listen to? So we've talked about touching. It's not normal. It's not normal for a dog to be touched and pampered non-stop. It closes some dogs down but it makes some dogs defensive. Now, there's nothing wrong with affection for your dog at the right time. Steve says the dog doesn't know what the jab is going to help the dog, so he reacted with aggression to deal with the pain. Yeah, but there's no real pain in a needle, is there, going into a dog, really, is it? I do it all the time with my dogs. Not even a jot. I don't need to. I just put them in all the time, don't I, Sue? Put needles into dogs all the time. It's about timing when you're giving discipline. It's about the position you're in when you give a needle, isn't it? When the dog, you wouldn't be leaning directly over the dog's head, would you? You'd be putting the dog in a position that you can get the needle into its rump, and it's not gonna bother the dog at all. And if someone has got the dog on a lead, and they've got a lead ability to control the dog on the lead, the head of the dog shouldn't turn round and attack the person giving the jab. Now, you could say it'll come up the lead, but if you know how to handle a dog coming up a lead, and you know how to choke a dog out, and as soon as you say something like that, choke a dog out, then you know how to react if a dog comes up a lead at you. So you put the dog in the position to be able to give the needle, especially if you've been doing it on a regular basis. Like they said, we deal with cats and dogs on a regular basis. This was just a freak accident. No, not a freak accident. If I put a dog in a situation to give a dog no way out, and I go in, some dogs will come out biting, some dogs will come out fighting, and some dogs will fear you. As simple as that. And that's why I put that thing up about how long does it take a dog to settle in? How long? Well, I can tell you they're all different. No different than humans. Some humans would say, put up the video, I'll learn from it. Some humans would say, no, it's a clusterfuck. I don't want anyone to see it. Everybody is different. Everybody reacts different. None of us are the same. Look at that nurse. Look at that freaking evil woman, what she's done to them babies and what she's done to them families. Evil. I'd have no hesitation watching her swing on a rope. I'd have no hesitation watching her fry in an electric chair if that was the case. Save us all money, and she should go out in pain. Simple as that. Go out in pain, right? Because it's evil. And yet people react different. Some people said that's disgraceful. They reported it, and other people said no. A woman wouldn't do that. A nurse wouldn't do that. She fooled people. Some people are so evil, and some dogs are evil. Some people are opportunists. Some dogs are opportunists. None of us are the same, and yet how many of us couldn't even contemplate what that woman has done to them poor kids? Why? You could say it's not her fault, she's mentally ill. Sometimes I have to do medical things to my dog. I can because we have a bond and it isn't happy, but it lets me do it. Trust and say. Totally true, Graham. Absolutely spot on, mate. And like Karen says, yeah, I do everything I can with my dogs because my dogs trust me. If I take my dogs in a vet, they're not going to attack a vet because they're going to be like, what's all this? But in my arms, I can control my dogs. No problem at all. Why was the dog taken in there without the owner if it was a vicious dog, left overnight, shitting itself, thinking what the hell's happening? Like I said, it takes time to settle in. And they've gone, right, today you're having an operation. Come here. We're going to stick a needle in you. Someone wasn't keeping their eye on the ball. And the dog reacted. And then they did the worst thing possible. Unless it was a life-changing moment where smacking the shit out of the dog, I have no problem with that, stops the dog attacking the person. But it didn't, did it? It didn't. Because if you use treats, food, love and affection, I don't think they do. Because why would the first thing you do pick up and use the word, right, punching and kicking? Punching and kicking. We should bring back the chair back. Who did the poor babies? Yeah, exactly, Karen. Exactly. We might be direct from where we come from, but we say it the way it is, don't we, Karen? Eh? And that's that. It's so sad, isn't it? Those kids weren't given a chance in life, and the parents, how sad for the parents, unbelievably sad for the parents, and the people in the hospital work there who didn't turn a blind eye, but thought, no, she couldn't be doing that. That's impossible. You know, too trusting. Unfortunately, there's some evil people out there, isn't there? So with vets, it's all about the money. Tell me about it, Brad. Tell me about it, mate. Tell me about it. It's all about the money. The overnight stay. I wonder what we're going to charge them. I wonder what they're going to charge. I wonder if they're going to put the dog down. I wonder if they're going to put the dog down now it's attacked a human in such a bad way, or whether they're going to sedate it gently, give it the operation, and send it back to the owner. Now, it could be the owner who spoiled the dog. It could be a lack of knowledge from the owner of training the dog, teaching it to be an aggressive dog. There you go. Karen says it. We kill dogs for harming children. Just saying. Yeah, exactly. I love dogs, but I would have no hesitation if a dog was an aggressive dog and bit children. I'd have no problem taking it down and having it put down. Absolutely no problem at all. Because I can put things into perspective, and that's the difference. I live in the real world, and can you stop unwanted behaviors? Yes. Could the child have provoked the dog? Yes. But if you put the dog in that situation and that dog attacks and that dog feels that power, then that dog can't be trusted again around children. Would I rather say let's rehome it to somebody who knows what they're talking about? Yes, without fail. But how do you know that dog's not going to go back with children? This is the problem, isn't it? So many people out there giving advice on the internet with very little understanding. Very little understanding. So if you're stroking your dog, if I'm giving a lesson here and someone comes here, I take the piss a little bit, don't I? I use humor and comedy and say, why are you fondling your dog? You're obsessed with the dog. I make fun out of it, but I bring the point up, don't I? I bring the point up, like, hang on, your dog's just run off, and you're patting it and saying, good dog, good dog, good dog, well done. And then if you tell me that your dog's he's very obedient, other than he doesn't listen to me, it's gone in this ear and out this ear instantly, because I'm not storing it in my head, because I hear it all the time. Oh, he's never like this normally. It's only because he's with you. It's not my freaking fault. Your dog is here for a reason. You've brought your dog because you've got a problem. And it's my job to show you how to get over that problem. And that's the important thing as a trainer, to show that success in that lesson. But it doesn't mean you can go straight in and go, wham, bam, there you go, all sorted, because you won't be able to address every issue. You can address one issue, like I was saying earlier. If you've got 6 issues that need addressing, you address the main issue, the one that's really important. And like I say, 2 or 3 of those issues will tidy themselves up without having to address them, because it's part and parcel of why you've got a weakness in your training. So we talked about eye contact. We talked about the dog seeing themselves as a leader and not you. But as soon as you talk to some people about, hang on, you're going to have to become more dominant, you're going to have to show leadership, you're going to have to take control. Some people who've been brainwashed by these treat training gurus out there, why haven't they gone to them? They write the books. They talk about the subject. People say it's fantastic. They do a fantastic job with dogs. Well, hang on. Why don't you go with them? If your ideology is, I don't want to use discipline, I don't want to sedate the dog. But this is the thing, isn't it, with vets? Let's sedate the dog. Behaviorists. Let's sedate the dog. I'm not one for sedating dogs. I'm one for stopping unwanted behaviors. Now, how I stop unwanted behaviors varies. It depends what the behavior is, to what level I have to go to. But I will use minimal discipline 99.9% of the time. But sometimes I know by using less discipline is going to make the situation worse. I've got to go in firmer. So let's just say owner gives me a demonstration of the dog. The dog's not listening to them. So I go, okay, then pass the dog to me. I give a couple of lead corrections through the leash. Has the owner even seen those lead corrections at that point? If they've only just started coming to me? No, they haven't. The dog has. The dog's seen leadership instantly on that lead. He's felt instant leadership through the leash. The owner hasn't, because the owner is in a different world up there with love and affection. And then when I hear somebody say, you're going to have to step up and show this dog some discipline. Oh, he's had discipline. Has he? Has he really had discipline? Has he had discipline to the level that he needs? Or has he had discipline with you saying, come here, get here, come here? And then when the dog eventually does come back, doing nothing to it. Doing absolutely nothing to the dog at all. Who's won? Who has won? Come on, we've got 23 people on here. If your dog is not listening to you and you're shouting at it, and eventually it comes back, who's won? Has the dog won or have you won? I know the answer straight away. It don't take rocket science. Dog every time, yeah. So what my question is, if you're following these treat trainers who write books and tell you that everything can be done lovely through treat training, then why haven't you sorted your freaking dog out? I'll tell you why you've got no control. Because you've got no consistency. There's no clarity towards the dog. The dog is clever. He's worked you out. He's worked you out so fast, I can see the dog is in charge of the show. In front of me, when I'm watching, I can see the dog is in charge of the show. As soon as the dog is in charge of the show, I take over the dog and I show the owner with a little bit of correction at the right time, through the leash, and then a firm correction at the right time. All of a sudden, within one lesson, what am I getting what the owner isn't getting? Now, this is the one for you guys if you're out there. 24 of you in the house. I want to know, what am I getting that the owner wasn't getting by using a correction at the right time? Come on. I try and give you a freaking good evening and no one's answering. It's like go slow here, isn't it? Respect? Nope. Keep going. What am I getting? What the owner's not getting? There you go. Gary and Marriott, spot on. Eye contact and engagement. Results, says Kira. There you go, results. So, Tim Reston, you're right. You get respect because the dog looks at you and goes, ooh, freaking hell, you're serious. You're serious. So then what does the owner get? The owner gets clarity. The owner gets clarity because he's now seen it work in front of him. Yes or no? That's the whole point about when to use your voodoo, when to use your magic touch. Now, I'm the first one to say, hang on, you've just met the freaking dog. Don't go in there and go wallop, wallop, wallop and knock the dog back to Stone Age. But you can tell when you've got the little bolshy bastard with his tail in the air, not listening, not coming back, no control at all. Dog's taken over. But you can't address everything. You've got to address the main issue. And the main issue is, let's have some manners. Let's get some eye contact for the right reason. How many dogs have you seen me in the videos over the years, everybody? When I've taken control in one lesson, the dog is going, you the boss. You the boss. Right? Why? Why did it work that quick? Why did it work that quick? Because the owner's never shown it. If the owner had shown that and got that, the owner wouldn't be in the situation they are. So if the dog isn't responding and coming back when told, that's disobedience. But if you've got no eye contact from the start, the first thing you want to do is, I'm going to get some eye contact from this dog, and eye contact for the right reason. Now, I guarantee you start feeding food to some dogs and you get eye contact and they'll want to freaking, I was going to say something rude then, because in the position they're in is, no, don't go there, Chris. You're going to get eye contact, but for not for the right reason. You're going to get eye contact for the food. You're going to get focused because of the food. You're not getting focused because you're a leader. And that's the whole point about being a leader. It doesn't mean you're a dictator, but you've gone, hang on, let's have some respect. Instantly, the dog goes, frickin' hell, Jesus, you the boss. I'm going to listen to you. And it looks up to you as if it's praying, right? That doesn't mean you've been nasty and hard on the dog. It means you've taken back control. Then you start to build. And then you layer the unwanted behaviors and start to build on them. But you have to address the main issue. So if the owner says to the dog, says to you, oh, the dog's really well behaved normally really, really well behaved. Well, I can only judge what I'm seeing in front of me. And over the years, I've seen it so many times. But I guarantee, if I put the video up, some owners come back to me and go, oh, freaking hell, I look a right freaking idiot. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. I've not put you up there to make you look an idiot. But what you're seeing is the truth. Because visually, it doesn't lie. It doesn't lie. But I can't address with a dog with 6, 7, 10 different problems. I can't address every issue in one lesson. I have to break it down so the dog understands. Once I've got the dog listening to me, then I'll go back to gameplay. Now, if I've got a dog that's got no eye contact, comes back but doesn't come back with any drive and desire, but he's not clearing off, I'm going to address that dog completely different to a dog that's a bog off dog that says bye-bye, and when you ask it to sit, it's looking over there and it's looking over there, it's looking over there. I deal with that dog completely different to I deal with a dog that's got no desire and no drive. The handler's energy can quickly gain the dog's attention. They soon work out how they can play a boring trainer, plugging it with food all the time. You're dead right. You're dead right. And that's the thing, isn't it? There's so many people who will put up a video of the dog responding lovely with food, but it suits the dog. But you have to get into the mindset of the dog. But guess what? As a gun dog trainer, you have to be a people person. And you have to get into the head of the person before you get into the head of the dog. You can use the tricks of the trade to show instant control where they haven't got control, or whoever they've followed or whoever they've trained with, they haven't gained control. You can see it. They can't argue the fact. It's there. It's plain to see. And who loses out? Let's ask that question on here. Who loses out? We've got 30 people. Who loses out? The owner, by not allowing the videos to be put up and having those videos addressed and explained to in broken down format that makes things simple to understand, or the trainer who just moves on to the next dog, next person. Who loses out? The owner, the dog, or the trainer? You tell me. You should make it fun for the dog. He sees that with you, it's fun. Dog and trainer. I think all three. The trainer, because he wants to get success, all of above. And I think the dog loses out and the owner loses out. So I think they all lose out, because the whole point of it is it's success. But success comes in different formats. And learning curve in some situations can be very quick. And other times it's got to be repetition. So if you call a dog to come back and it doesn't come back, and you don't keep calling it and you let it get away with it, then it's going to misbehave even more. If you keep calling it and it doesn't come back and you go and get it, then you're creating a bigger problem. So you say it once, and if the dog doesn't listen to you, you go and get it. Then what happens very, very quickly, you only have to say it once and the dog goes, right, get back in. Then you've solved that problem. Now, you haven't done that with love. You haven't done that with gameplay. You haven't done that with affection. But then when you add the gameplay to it, the dog goes, hey, get back to you. It's bloody fun. But to begin with, I'm not worried the dog don't think it's fun. If the dog don't come back in, I go out and get the dog. It's simple as that. The dog will avoid the negative and work for the positive. If I've got a high drive dog, then I can afford to use discipline in slightly a different way than you would with a softer dog. But you don't let soft dogs get away with it. You don't let soft dogs win. He's going to learn that come here doesn't mean and come here, and nothing happens if he doesn't. Exactly. Because they're opportunists, and that's exactly what they do. They work to the level that they feel happy. So many make mistakes of punishing when it finally does come back. Exactly. And that just creates confusion, doesn't it? How many people punish a dog through frustration when the dog comes back? And that's where you come unstuck. That's where using discipline at the wrong time, and that's why it's so important to talk about discipline at the right time. Anyway, on that note, the discipline's got to stop now. The fun-based training's got to stop now. Hope you've had a good evening. Only got 8 thumbs up. I cannot believe it, honestly. Joe Rogan gets far, far more of a following than me. And he's freaking on wacky backy half the time. Yes, Gary. Some owners don't want to go to the level of discipline that their dog needs. That is a problem. That is a problem for the trainer. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised that the level of discipline when somebody's not give a dog any discipline is less than you think, as long as you get your timing right. One short, sharp correction at the right time, all of a sudden, you're not having to chastise the dog and punish the dog. If you don't know when to go in and how to go in and give the correction, then that you're lacking in the skill set, in that knowledge and understanding. When you put your head above the parapet, be prepared to be shot at. It's as simple as that. But that's how we learn. That's how we learn. I've watched myself many times and thought, no, do that different next time. Do that slightly like that. Remember what you did last time with that? It worked better. I sometimes think, nope, shouldn't have done it at that point. Should have read that slightly different. Because we all make mistakes. But if even 80% of your training lesson is right, you're going to get somewhere, aren't you? You're going to get somewhere. But if you're doing 70% of your training lesson wrong because you've watched food-based trainers and you've seen dogs that are focused on food and you don't want to give discipline and you've been brainwashed that discipline is not the way forward, then that's the way you're going to go in your head, aren't you? And who's going to persuade you to change that unless you get instant result? If you get instant result, you're going to go, frickin' hell. And that's where we've got the tool that other people can't use. We can get instant result. But the skill set is knowing how. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed that this evening. I've tried to talk about dogs rather than anything else. I tried to offer somebody to come in tonight. I was going to get hold of Kieran Evans and see if he wanted to come in. He's done some freaking writing tonight, hasn't he? He must be typing away there like a squirrel with no nuts. He must have been storing his nuts. He's been typing like a freaking... If 70% of your training is crap, 30% of good isn't even good. That was bad. Yeah, there you go, boss. Sure. So thanks for tuning in and catch you all later. Chris Upton signing off. Susie Two Shoes went quiet, thank fuck, in the background. Did you hear that? No, I missed her. What happened, Sue? Did you fall off you fell asleep? Did you bored, are you?
No,
She's bored silly. She's bored silly. She hears it all the time. Good night, all. Good night, all. Good night, Sue.
Good night.
She's not even said good night to anyone, is she? She's just terrible. She's sulking. She's freaking sulking, everyone. She says, will you? I'm typing. They're all leaving, Sue. There's only 26 in the house. You can't even. Oh, good night, Sue. Oh, thank God for that. She said good night. Good night, all. Oh, I'm having to keep up with her tonight as well, honestly.